Hey guys, hi Priyanshu.
Hi Kalpit, this is Vikash.
Hi Vikas.
Okay. So we'll start sharply at 6 p.m. We'll wait for a few more people to join.
Sure.
Okay.
Smithy.
Smriti is not available, Kalpit, so I will be handling it.
Sorry guys, I was talking to Smithy actually.
Sure, Kalpit. So, Kalpit, can we start?
Yes, we can start.
Yeah. You will be presenting, right? Okay.
Let me start presenting.
Okay. Sure. Uh, Hi everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. The webinar topic is generative AI transforming work with intelligent automation. So, before going to the webinar, I will quickly introduce today's speaker. Today's speaker for this webinar is Mr. Kalpit Singh. He is currently the Director of AI at Single Store. He is also the ex-VP for AI at Go Self-Serve. And previously, he has worked in Flam and also in Microsoft. So, Kalpit is a leader in the field of AI for mixed reality. He heads an R&D team at leading AI startup, which was previously the CEO and founder of Cognomen, a startup in the space of face recognition. So, with over 12 plus years of experience, he has filed 6 patents and he has a few more in progress. So, he is also one of our faculty at Great Learning. So, this is your chance to get all your queries related to the trends and opportunities in Gen AI to get resolved. So, before handing over to the speaker, I will just give you the basic instructions of this webinar. So this is a listen only mode webinar. So you have the Q&A section as well as the chat section for your interaction. You can post all the queries in that Q&A section or chat box. Over to you, Kalpit.
Oh, thank you so much, Vikas. Thank you so much everyone for joining me here today. My name is Kalpit, and I think Vikas has already introduced me. Um, so in this today's session, I think we would be talking about some of the basic concepts of Gen AI, which will gonna help you automate your several work. And basically, let's say if I want to automate, there would be some core concepts which would be needed while you think about automating or creating apps, which would be using large language models or generative AI, right? So just to sum up, we will gonna be going through these some topics, which would include like what is an effective prompt engineering is, what is the context window, what is a travel augmented generation (RAG), and what is re-ranking and why it is very important while we talk about RAG, right? And then I think we're gonna be discussing about what's going on in the industry, and also talk about Microsoft Azure AI. And then my business team is gonna take over and give you more details about the program from and the offering from the Great Learning for the same. All right, guys, you would be having two ways to respond to me. I want this session to be a full duplex. I know it's a voice only mode. That is also one way. But you are provided with webinar chat and Q&A. So whenever you have any question, you put it on the Q&A. I will gonna try to answer it there and there itself. And if in case I skip, I will gonna keep those questions for the end and I will try to answer them. Apart from that, for any specific general chat where I would be asking question to you guys, we would be using webinar chat. All right. Just to understand, I mean, how my audience is today, I would like to know how many of you guys are already aware of generative AI, or you guys are using any application in your company, or maybe using some tools which are available, paid, free, which are built on top of large language models or generative AI. You can answer why if you are familiar with this in the webinar chat. No, if not. So just respond me with Y and N on the webinar chat. Okay, people have started giving answers in the Q&A. That's fine. I would be focusing on the Q&A window. All right, let's move ahead. So guys, I think most of us know already what ChatGPT is, but I've today my focus is not you guys to explain what ChatGPT is. Rather, I want you to explain how these engines work behind the scenes, so that tomorrow if you want to automate something, you will be gonna be using these techniques which we will be discussing today. All right. And since this is not an in-depth technical discussion or webinar, I would request Great Learning team to schedule one where I would be maybe touching upon some of the depth concept, but today we're going to be taking just the surface level of these concepts. Okay. So just to give you a sort of overview, I hope you guys are able to see my screen. Vikas, can you just confirm once again?
Yes, Kalpit.
All
Screen is
right,
visible. Yes. Yeah.
awesome. So what exactly this thing is? So we have divided the machine learning or artificial intelligence into two parts. One is called the classical machine learning, where we used to have a set of data on which we used to train the classification models or the regression models to predict something. And the disadvantage was that with these approaches, what they are heavily driven by statistics. And most of the time we used to uh, generate the feature which were handcrafted, right? Features, I mean the column in the table or something of that sort, or maybe a group of pixels in an image. You can think about that, right? So this is how classical machine learning used to, break the boundaries where the non-probabilistic ways were not able to solve, but the classical machine learning was able to learn something from the data which we had and then try to give the output for unseen data. That's how classical machine learning created a very big revolution, right? But then the limitation was that the classical machine learning was actually classified as discriminative models. Okay, we call such models as discriminative models. Let me write down here. Okay, what these models do, basically these models are generally work on a specific data set, and then their algorithms are discriminative in nature, that they have to classify or create a boundary on the all the data points available to separate them from each other. right? This goes with both regression as well as classification, right? So that's why we call these models as discriminative models. But now in the present or current AI, the whole thing is changing. The model itself is not the model which are specifically used for classifying something or predict something. Rather, these models are capable of generating something which is not there in the data, right? So such type of models are called as generative AI models. Okay. And any model which is capable of generating human language, that we call it as large language model, because these are so much, they are been trained on so many parameters and a very big set of data set. So that's why these are called large language models, because they understand human language, right? So now you understand what is generative AI and discriminative AI. So discriminative AI is basically discriminating the examples, and generative AI that I have seen some examples and now I'm able to generate new thing out of those examples, right? And another big advantage with generative AI, that why this is becoming very popular, is that it is trained in such a way that there is no specific domain or data set defined. That means Gen AI is being trained on the world internet, okay? World's internet. And you can know, you understand that very clearly, that internet is something which contains every domain: sciences, mathematics, computer science, marketing, growth, even from a patient and doctor, and all those, like it is like a superset of all the domains. So now you can imagine, if a model is being trained so generic in nature that it understands all the domains. That's why most of these generative AI models, which are LLMs, right? They are called as foundational models. Okay. What are foundational models? These are the set of models which are capable of understanding all the domains, and they are general purpose models which can be then later on fine-tuned for a specific use case. So what are the examples of foundational models? These are general purpose models. Like, let's say ChatGPT 4.0 is one of the foundational models. You could say Gemini, Flash 2.5 could be one of the foundational model. So all these models which are having some sort of training done, and then this is called the foundational model. And these foundational model can then be fine-tuned. Okay. These foundational models can then be fine-tuned to give you a specific use case. Okay. So we do fine-tuning, and fine-tuned models are the models which are specifically created to solve a specific problem. So these are the experts actually. Okay. So if I talk about O3 model in ChatGPT platform, or O 4.1, right? All these are the experts. That means they are defined for coding purpose specifically or reasoning purpose specifically. These are the fine-tuned models which are built on top of foundational models. Okay. So I think this is just to give you an overview. Now coming to generative AI is not just about LLMs, large language models, but there could be cases where we can generate images, we can generate videos, we can generate music, and all those sort of data available to us, right? And that's why generative AI is becoming a very important tool for all the businesses. And I don't have to explain you that how much transitions every company is going through today to convert its operations from manual to automation, and these automations are built by using these foundational models. So it's very crazy to understand that, if I talk about the statistics, or if you read about the statistics, most of the companies are now trying to build solutions using generative AI or large language models or foundational models, right? Now, if I ask you, these questions like, hey, can you give me an example of a model which can generate text, image, or video? You might be giving me a lot of answers, and I believe that you would be knowing these, right? Now let's focus upon the large language models for now. So I'm gonna spend few more minutes in large language model just to give you an overview that how these models are. So basically, large language model, these are the models which are trained on very huge amount of data, which has been collected from the internet. and then there's a pre-processing step which happens, and then the training step which happens, and then we get the foundational model. And after the foundational model is created, then we do fine tuning on top of it to make it useful for any specific use case, right? So now when I talk about large language models, there are two types of large language model. One I call it as masked LM or masked large language model. The other one is called as autoregressive. Okay. Now, masked large language model are the model which are not having pure generative capabilities. Rather, they have semantic capabilities which understand the meaning of a specific sentence. One of the example of masked language model is BERT, bidirectional encoder transformer. Okay. And then other category is called as autoregressive, where when we talk about chat GPT, this is one of the example from autoregressive model, right? And why these are two created? They are created because mass language models are small or tiny in nature. They don't have very huge generative capabilities. But if I ask you to, fill in the blank or classify something, that's where you will not be burning your resources to solve these small problems where the generation capabilities are not needed, right? So you would be focusing upon mass language models. Okay. And then when you generate, let's say I have given a question and then you have to generate a new sentence, then you need autoregressive large language models. And ChatGPT is one of the example of this, right? So now you have a fair understanding that, hey, where and what to use, right? I believe that you would be able to understand now. So not every use case you will gonna be calling you will gonna be calling OpenAI's O4 model or O3 model, because then you have to worry about token generation and cost also, right? So that's where you have to understand that for a specific use case, let's say where you want to classify something, you have to um, fill in the blank or find out anomaly, multi-class classification and all that just by human language. You don't have to use autoregressive models because they are very costly, right? Awesome. So with this introduction, I think I have given you some sort of overview that how generative AI large language models are, classified, right? Okay. Now, when I talk about, hey, now the general question comes up like, hey, which model is very good? How will I get to know that which model is very good? Well, there are a lot of benchmarking done on these models. And while you solve a specific problem, okay, you have to understand one thing, that which benchmark, which model is performing what. Okay. So not every model will gonna solve or become a Spider-Man or Batman for your problem. But you have to understand what their benchmarks are. So there are a lot of use cases where you can understand which benchmark I have to use. So some of the use cases, if I talk about with these large language model, is like translations, question and answer, program executor, or name entity recognition, text matching, classification, all those scenarios. And then what sort of benchmarking you have to look forward for that. There are so many subjects around it where some of the expert models are created. So let's say you are dealing with some sort of models which can perform very good with science, then you would be focusing upon um, a massive multi-task language understanding, MMLU. This is one of the paper which talks about, which model can perform what on what particular subjects, right? So that's where, and how will you get benchmarking for each model? You go to Hugging Face website and find out your model. It will gonna list somewhere that, hey, which models are in this particular space and which models are performing on what particular benchmark. Okay. So not every model will be used for your use case, right? Awesome. Cool. And there's a question here, what is meant by LLM? LLM means large language models. Okay. All right. Let's move ahead, guys. Okay. Now I don't have to understand, why generative AI transforming business. Now you can relate because I've already told you that this is something which is the magic is the foundational model, which are domain generic. They are not trained on a specific data. They are reusable. You can use the same foundation model to solve science problem. You can use the same foundation model to solve coding problem, and so on, right? Awesome. Let's move ahead. Now, the important part when you have to interact with this model is a human language, right? So I would be, most of the time you have interacted with the we have interacted with ChatGPT, and you ask a question. Hey, can you tell me Ramayana synopsis or story or summary or whatever? It will gonna give you some answer. However, just asking a liner question might not give you the exact results you wanted. Okay, it will give you the results which are very good, but what you expected from ChatGPT did not come up on the screen just because you do not use the um, anatomy of prompt. Okay, and what is that? So basically, let's say, assume I am ChatGPT and you work in a company and I don't know about you. And you suddenly come and ask me, hey, is tomorrow holiday? I don't know about your company. I don't know where your company is. And even I don't know what sort of festivals your country or company celebrates. I can't give you any specific answer for tomorrow, but what I can do, I can search through the internet and find out which all festivals are there. In Hindu mythology, there would be some festival. In Muslim, there would be some festival. In Christianity, there would be some festival. And these festivals differ from India to US and some other countries. Or maybe some national event, right? So until unless I provide the right context that, hey, I work in a company which is in Bangalore, and today is 1st of November. Is there a holiday today? Then I'm gonna have some context on which I can search my knowledge, either using a tool which can search online, or maybe within my training parameter if I found a token which matches, right? So this is where prompt engineering play a very important role. Okay. So now from now onwards, you make sure that while you're writing a prompt, you have to explain the large language model as much context as you can. Okay. So the very first part, when you ask somebody a question, right, you have to give the context. Even see in a daily uh, uh, your daily work also, when you're asking some question to your mentor or anybody, you give them the question, the context. And until somebody is not aware of the context, he might not even understand your question. And that's where a lot of hallucination happens, where these models are not capable of giving the right answers, right? Awesome. Now, in the anatomy of prompt, the important part is the context, where you give the background about what you're asking. So let's say if I'm creating an algorithm to swap two numbers without using another space, then you will not be asking question like, hey, swap two numbers and give me the algorithm. You have to give the context that, hey, I want to write an algorithm which can swap two numbers without using an extra space, right? So you have to give right context. Then comes the role. Well, by the way, the sequence doesn't matter. So the role can come before the context. Okay. So these two things can be switched, but the role is like to specify the domain. Okay. Domain here means that, hey, I'm asking a question where, medical department is also using that particular word, and the similar word is being used by the computer science department, but their meaning are different. Correct? So I can't rely on just the context or the word I'm writing, but I have to specify, hey, I'm talking about this specific domain. So there, what you do, you define the role that, hey, assume you are a computer scientist, or assume you are a software developer, assume you are a front-end developer, or assume you are a marketing person, assume you are a digital marketing person, like that, so that it can understand, hey, which particular domain I have to look forward for. So role is very important. And then comes, hey, I have given you the context. I have given you where you have to, what are your limits by defining the role. Then comes the action. What you have to do. Okay. Either you have to generate a poem, or you are asking some question. That is the action. Okay. So actually the question which you ask is this action part. Okay. This is the action part which generally we try to write at the first time. But now what you're going to do, you're going to define the context as well as role first, and then comes to action. And the other important part is what should be the output. So, hey, I want an output in JSON format, or hey, I just want an output like yes or no, or I need answer with what you thought. So whatever he thought about a specific thing, it will also explain that I thought this, that's why I'm giving this answer. Okay. So this output is also important, and these four things combined together creates a simple prompt. Okay. Apart from this, if you want to try a little bit more and understand, there are something called sampling technique. Okay. Sampling techniques. Again, this is again a depth transformation where I don't want to give the details. Okay, so sampling technique means what is temperature, then comes top K, and then top P. What are these? Well, all these autoregressive models, they actually generate a token or a word. You can imagine token as a word. So let's say if I say, hey, the movie was thrilling because, so then what will the next word? So I will gonna put this whole sentence into the autoregressive model, then it will gonna predict the next word. Then what will be the other next word? Then this next word along with the previous sentence has to put as an input, then another word will be generated, right? So this new word which has been generated every time auto-regressively, we are calling repeatedly, putting a sentence and then asking a next word. And then along with the next word, I am putting again. This happens like a to and fro within the model. And that's where, these techniques comes. These are the techniques where, so there is a sample space where on which the new token will gonna be defining, right? So token means word dictionary. You know Oxford Dictionary, right? There contains all the words which are there in English. So assume that's the dictionary, and every time we put a model, an input with some sentence, okay, it will gonna give probability for each word that which words are getting what probability that what they would be next, right? So the highest probability token is chosen most of the time. But the other tokens which are little bit lower, they are not given any chance. But when I took these lower probability tokens into the sentence, there might be a chance that the whole meaning or the sentence might also change, right? So what these parameters do, these are sampling that out of all these words, which word I should choose, right? For example, if I say a crafting specific instruction for, this is my input, and then I'm asking for what is the what will be the next token here, right? So the next token is AI models. Now assume that AI models is having the highest probability. That's why it is taken. But just below AI probability, there is one more word called, let's say, LLM model, okay, or LLM, which is having a little bit lower probability. But if I put this word here, right, then what will happen? That maybe the other words which has to be generated, these might not be the same word, right? So where you want some sort of creation of these words which deviates from the so obvious meaning or word, then these sampling techniques comes into picture. So if I improve the temperature, guys, my spellings are very poor, so you can correct. This is temperature, okay? Ture, okay? So temperature means when the temperature is high, the low probability tokens will be taken into the sentence, and it will try to bring those meanings also sometimes which might not be seen before in an example, right? Same goes with top K and top P. So in top P, if I say, hey, choose randomly one word where the probability makes 90% of the words. So let's say out of all these words, if the first word is, let's say, having 40% probability, second word is having, let's say, 30% probability, and then other word is having 20% probability, and then most other are having very less probability. So I will choose from the words which are up to 90%. So these three words create 90% probability. So at random, I will gonna choose one and then start filling my sentence. Now somebody will ask me, if you are really listening to me, you will have a doubt that why we need these techniques and all that. This is because we don't want, all these are probabilistic models, and we don't want so obvious answer. There could be multiple answers, because a human being, if you ask a question, it might not respond to you with the same way. So when I'm taking this session on the same topic today, it will be completely different from the same topic if I'm gonna be delivering the same webinar tomorrow, right? So these sampling techniques makes a sort of a randomness into the answer this is generating. And that is also needed when you have to think out of the box. and find solution which does not exist, right? Awesome. Okay, I hope you guys are liking this session. Any question up till now? Um, Let me see if there are some questions.
Uh, Kalpit, there is only one question regarding the webinar. So it's like first three things should be included for each single questions for correct output. That is what the question is.
So the first three things should be included for each single question for correct output. I did not understand the question, but what I'm assuming is that you are asking that uh, the top three techniques like top P, top K, and temperature. You can define which one you have to use, which sampling technique you have to use, and based on that, you will get the output. Okay, either. And then out of the probability, it will gonna choose a random from those words, whatever is the question. Okay. All right, let's move on. The other point we wanted to touch upon was the context window, and why context window is very important. Each large language model can only work with specific tokens or word. So let's say when you are asking a question to me, you can't give me a whole sentence of, or a whole book and then ask me a question, because I might not be able to understand everything. So there is a limit where, when you're talking to your friend, you talk to him, like in few lines only. So when you're telling him a story, then you utter few lines and then you wait and ask it to consume. Like same way, uh, all these large language model is also having something called context window, that how many maximum tokens or words can be given in at once to these large language models. That is called the context window. Okay. So for example, ChatGPT 4 can take these many tokens. For now, if you don't understand tokens, tokens are nothing but a sort of hexadecimal or binary values, you can imagine, created from the words. Okay. And there are multiple techniques to create tokens. So these might be different from the actual words. And if you want to understand, hey, I want to see which word is making what token. So there's a website called Tick Tokenizer. I'm repeating, Tick Tokenizer. You Google it, and then you type anything on that website. It will give you, what tokens are created with this any input sentence or something. Okay. So context window plays a very important role, and that is one of the drawback of all these large language model also. And that's where, most of the time you have to deal with some techniques to make sure that the context window limits are not reached. Okay. And what is the maximum response size? This is like how many tokens a particular model can generate based on the input. That is called the maximum response size. Okay, let's try to understand. Now, what is RAG? So, as I said, context window is one of the big problem which we have to take care of, and to get rid of. By the way, I hope you understand context window very well, because what is context window? Nothing, it implies the context part of the prompt, where you're telling the background, role, action, output, all this written in a single, in several sentences in while you're typing to ChatGPT, right? This is called a whole prompt, and this prompt cannot go beyond these many tokens limited for the context window. This is what we're talking about. Okay. So now what happens? Since a company will be having a lot of data, okay, millions and billions of records, and all these records are there in the database, and now you want to ask a question. Now the flow would be, you can't ask question to ChatGPT just understand prompt. Okay, it will give you give it some context, some question about the context, and it will give you output. That's what ChatGPT do, or any large language model do, right? But now your company will be having a lot of data, and there is a big drawback with LLM is the context window, and you can't put all the company data in the single context, right? So what we do, whenever we have a query, we try to find out from the complete data in the company that which data matches to the question I'm asking. So let's say if I'm asking a question about, hey, can you give me the payslip of Mr. Ramanujam? Let's say HR is asking that question to large language model, and that large language model application is built on your company data. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna find out all the pay slips where the employee name is Ramanujan. Okay. And then it will gonna take all those pay slips out of the database along with the question which HR has asked. And then that particular thing will gonna go to large language model. And then large language model will gonna return the answer. This is how all the application, the Gen AI application work. Okay. I hope I'm making sense here. Thing here is that if somebody asks you what problem RAG is solving, RAG is not solving intelligence or anything. What it is solving is the context problem, the context window problem of the large language model. So what RAG do? In RAG, we say, hey, I have this question, and out of all these billion records, which records are very, very close to the question? So I'm gonna take top 50 or top 10 records from the database, and that would be my context part of the prompt. That would be my context part of the prompt. Okay. And then there would be an action. Then I'll ask out based on this information, can you tell me this? Right? Same way, RAG what to do? RAG is having a retriever which get to the company data, retrieve the related information, and then give it to the large language model. And large language model will not give you the output. That is what RAG is. Okay. The problem with RAG is again a very big problem. What the problem is? How will you find out which data is closer to the prompt I've written, right? And that's a very big problem. So to make sure that RAG works the way we wanted, there are a lot of technique to retrieve the document which are similar to one. Okay. One of the technique which is very popular, I call it as sparse search. Okay. Where you match words. So as I said, hey, Ramanujan payslip. So wherever payslip and Ramanujan matches together, this record matches with the question. So sparse search. And then comes by encoder. By encoder is like sentence semantics. What is sentence semantics? Is like, I'm not talking about a single word now. I am taking whether this whole sentence matching with the query or not. Okay. For that, what we create, whenever we are inserting a new data in the company record, we create the embeddings. Okay. Embeddings are nothing but a floating point array. Okay. Are you guys getting this or not? I believe I'm trying to make it very simple. The other technique is called encoder, which is the sentence semantics, where I try to understand the meaning of the whole sentence rather than just matching the word. Okay. And apart from that, the other techniques are called cross encoder. Cross encoder means you are making use of LLM to find out which sentences matches the query. Right? I hope it's making sense. So now the question you would be asking me, hey, sir, the problem is which one to use? Well, we don't use one, we use all of these together. So first we do a sparse search, which is the word matching. This is best match 25. The algorithms IBM 25, one of the example you could say. So I'm gonna be finding out the best match 25 algorithms. These are the sentences matching. So let's say why we are using this, because this is cheaper. So the way we're going down, the cost of matching increases. Sparse search, fastest. By encoder, okay, average. And then cross encoder, very slow because it is involving LLM. So what we do in RAG, the retriever will gonna first search the top results. Let's say top 100 results using the best match 25 algorithm. Okay. And then on these 100 records, I will gonna do by encoders, which will be faster because now I'm not doing on billions of records. I am just doing on these top 100. Okay. And this by encoder will gonna filter out, let's say 10 records. Okay. These are the 10 records which are definitely matching. And then cross encoder we're gonna use only on these 10 records. And at the end, we'll just find out that, hey, the records which matches with Ramanujan and payslip are just 3 records. And these 3 records we can put as a context in the large language model, right? By the way, By the way, the retriever, the retriever, this is the person who is retrieving, right, which is using these algorithms. These algorithms are re-ranking algorithms, by the way. Okay, so now you understand what is re-ranking and retriever, right? So I'm re-ranking, which is making more sense. In the re-ranking, you can have some sort of rules also that, hey, the freshness of the particular sentence, whether this was generated last year or current or whatever. And there could be a number of rules, hard-coded rules you can create. But these are the re-ranking algorithms which can be used. Apart from that, there is one more research paper which was published some time back, which was, we call it as Colbert. And Colbert is called um, multi-vector search, where each word or each sentence will gonna be having each word, and each word will gonna be having embedding. Not a sentence, but a word will be having embedding. And it's a matrix sort of a, filtration. So after sparse search, we can go with bi-encoder, and after bi-encoder, we can go with Colbert. And whatever is filtered out of Colbert, only few records will be there, which cross encoder can do. I hope I'm making sense here, guys. Why we are using RAG is clear to you, because to get rid of the context window problem. All right. Awesome. This is done, right? So now you understand what is RAG. Let's move on. So all these concepts you're going to be using to create these intelligent apps, which is the topic for today.
Kalpit, there are two questions in the Q&A section. You could take it, no?
Um, how to create or generate LLM with the data we have? Well, if you want to create data, so depends upon. So if you have, let's say, billions and millions of records, then you can think of creating your own large language model. But hey, I am having just 10,000 records, 1,000 records. Then you have two ways to do it. You do fine tuning. Okay. If you are not aware of fine tuning, ChatGPT is having a very good API. Just click, 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 and fine tuning will work. It will also give you the format into which the data has to be provided. Some examples with the prompt and all that. Okay. So the answer is fine tuning, not generate a new large language model or foundational model. Okay. And if the data is very low, you can now create your own RAG pipeline, as I said. So when we have limited data, which can't be used for training a new model, you can always think of RAG pipelines and, creating the right RAG. Okay. I hope this question is answered. And there's another question. Can you help me with what are the job roles that if I wish to start learning the course, how it will helpful for my career, as I was currently UX text analyst. How does Gen AI will helpful, and do I can create an interface for it? Absolutely good question. So basically, this is what we call it as agent. What Fanindra is talking about is how he can create an agent who can help him doing his daily job. Well, same way, and definitely you should do it, irrespective you are an engineer or not, because uh, there are a lot of ways to do it, and that's where this course will gonna help you out to create with code and no code agents. There is this framework called Crew AI. Uh, Crew AI. You use this, and you can create your own application or creating an agent. Okay. And whenever we talk about agent, you have to have the data with you, because based on that data only, it will have to make decisions, the ground truth. Okay. Fanindra, am I answering your question now? And regarding the job roles, well, see, job role is more about, how much experience you have in the particular field. And when you are transitioning, so let's say you are not a software engineer, but you are transitioning to an AI engineer, what I suggest you to create some projects within your company, within your limit and reach, and then showcase those in your resume, rather than, participating hackathon and getting a certificate, or, going into some sort of, uh, projects which are not making sense, right? So what you should do is, like, within your company premises, after learning, right? After you learn, let's say you opted for this course and you learned how what exactly has to be to create a Gen AI application. You will have to find out a use case within your circle, like you are mentioning already, like an agent for your tax analyst, and try to build it and let your customer here are not the actual customer, but your teammates to use it, get their feedback, what exactly are the problems, and that you can showcase with full confidence that, hey, I built this in my company. And that's where the actual experience will gonna add to your resume, right? It is not about just participating in hackathon, rather you build something for the company. All right, Farinda, I think I've answered your question. Cool. So I think we have already understood re-ranking in detail in the last slide. What are the re-ranking techniques? I think I've already discussed about lexical match like BM25 or the word matching, and then by-encoder, Colbert, and cross-encoders. Okay. And these are the sort of types, like I could say semantic, which understand the meaning of a specific sentence, then lexical, like understanding the word itself, and then LTR. LTR is learning to rank. It means like I can create a machine learning model which can rank based on their relevance. Okay. Okay, let's move on, guys. Um, Now, with all this, what is happening in the industry? One of the example which we could see here is that lot of good pro features are coming up with the companies which provide these large language model services and chatbots. Alpha Evolve is one of the example which you can search now. Just go to your laptop screen and search for Alpha Evolve. This is a coder which the Google team has built, which can code to a human level expertise. Okay. So how it has been built using the same techniques, there are no techniques which are different from what we have discussed. But yeah, there would be some depth required, which you will gonna be learning while you start to build these projects, right? Awesome. So this is one of the good example. Apart from that, you are already aware of all these other features which OpenAI is also giving into their pro versions. They have recently announced that they will gonna be replacing all the developers, uh, and they will be charging like around 20,000 USD a month for these pro developers, because this is not a single developer. It can completely replace the whole development team and can work under a single team lead, right? So all these crazy things are happening, guys, in Gen AI. And the only way to battle this is to understand the AI, and then you being a controller for the AI rather than using it, right? You should control it. Okay. Awesome. So I think giving all this, I wanted to discuss, the technical discussion is over. How you have to automate and what concepts will be used. If you have any question, you can please put it on the Q&A. I would be answering those. In generative AI trend, if you see, the market is expected to show an annual growth rate of 41.43, resulting in a market volume of 6.28 billion by 2030. And that's a very big market. And when we talk about Gen AI developers, uh, you can yourself see when you put a so I'm not sure whether how much active you guys are on LinkedIn or not. Most of the people, whether they are into this field or not, just to get job calls, they're writing AI somewhere in their resume, right? And you can feel the importance of this word in your role, right? So if you are writing AI in the resume, you are shortlisted for some interviews. If not, it might take some time, more time. And when the negotiations happen on the salary and other stuff, again the same question arises, whether this guy is having experience with this technology or not, right? This said, the trends are simple, that there will be a lot of job openings, a lot of demand for AI. And how Gen AI developers are different from classical machine learning AI is that classical machine learning AI was more related to statistics, right? Crafting features manually, understand the patterns, and that involve a lot of mathematics and science, right? But Gen AI is more about just understanding the fundamental, like 20% of the AI fundamental. Rest 40% is about engineering, scaling, and all that. And other 40% is about understanding the large language models and generative AI thing. So if I say that you have to transform your career from any ABCD job to a Gen AI developer, it is far more easier as if I ask you a data scientist to become a data scientist or something in the classical machine learning, because that is a little bit tricky and difficult where you have to deal with a lot of mathematics. Awesome. So I think this slide we don't have to discuss now. You guys already know the impact. You guys might be feeling this impact. That's why we are here in this webinar call. So this slide is self-explanatory. We don't have to discuss about it. You know the importance, and that's why we are discussing here. So this is more about this course, and the offering is simple that you would be working with Microsoft Azure OpenAI platform, and here you would be having 16 weeks online learning and a lot of hands-on projects and stuff. And that's where you would be learning like prompt engineering with and without code, and then certification, and then OpenAI Studio in Microsoft. And why Microsoft? Because most of these Fortune 500 companies, their data is in Microsoft Azure. And if you know OpenAI Studio, then you can build their AI apps integrated with their data set on the Azure platform directly. So there will be a lot of interview calls you can get because there is a demand for Azure, right? Awesome. I think this program highlights like generative AI principle, prompt engineering, LLM tuning. I've already discussed all whatever I have discussed. All those in depth will be covered. It was just a glimpse, just a surface level that how exactly and what techniques, right? So that's all. I think Vikas, you would like to take it from here.
Yeah, yes, Kalpit. So these are some of the mentors who will be in the Gen AI program. So can you change to next slide? So as you know, this Gen AI program is mainly constructed for working professionals. So this is a very flexible program which happens only on the weekends, and you will exclusively get access to this Microsoft Azure OpenAI platforms where you can build Gen AI models. Okay, and there was one question in the Q&A about, I think, yeah, like he's doing his degree BCom second year, and which courses are uh, that he has to do for a Gen AI based job. So uh, to answer those questions also, that this program is mainly for working professionals, but yes, you can also do. The only thing that you have to be more careful is this program exclusively gives overviews about the tools, and you will be building more no code AI agents rather than going coding. Like, okay, basic Python coding for Gen AI and prompt engineering will be taught, but to exclusively do coding, this is not the course. This is course mainly based on Gen AI tools and trends. Okay, and there was also one more question in the Q&A, that yeah, do we need to complete prompt engineering to start this course? No, this course have an exclusive model for prompt engineering, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't even have to know about Gen AI before coming to this course, because we have structured all the curriculum in a way that you will gain all insights about Gen AI. Okay, so these are the things which I wanted to say. Or not, so it require any no. So even if you are a technical person with technical background or non-technical background, this course is very much suitable for all of them, because like every domain is adapting Gen AI. So this course is not only for career change but also upskilling yourself in your current domain, because there are a lot of automated tools coming into all the domain, and which are mostly using only prompts and not coding. Okay, because of that, this course is for all. not only for technical people. Okay. So I have given a Google form in the chat. So you can fill it and you can ask any queries about regarding the course or regarding the um, upcoming webinars or about the PPTs. Anything you can put your queries there, and our team will get back with the answers. And in this slide, you also have 8+ hands-on case studies and 4 hands-on projects. So you will be also doing projects. It's not just a theory kind of subject. You will be doing projects. You will be using Python. You will be using other Gen AI tools, or mainly you will be using Microsoft Azure AI platforms for all your projects. And you will be also working on the case study. So it will be the real world case studies, which has the recent trends and everything. Okay, recordings, yes, you can post it in the Google form, and our team will get back with you with all the queries that you ask for. It can be related to the recording, it can be related to the PPT, it can be related to the course, it can be related to the fee structure, the curriculum. Any questions, you can put it in the feedback forms. So think I think that's it, Kalpit, from my side. So uh, if you guys have any technical questions regarding Gen AI, you can please put it in the QA section or the chat for now. So Kalpit can answer for you.
I think what kind of projects? I think we have list of projects. I think Vikas, you would like to answer this. We have already discussed, I think, about this. What kind of projects would be there from industry or any specific?
Okay, so projects will be initially it will be of prompt engineering. It will be like you will be selecting a domain and then you will be doing some prompt engineering in order to get the results. Some projects like that, and there will be sentiment analysis projects. There will be uh, logistic feedbacks kind of projects. So mostly projects will cover all the recent trending topics, right? So that is what our goal is. Think that answers the question. Okay, about the cost of the course, you can please respond to the feedback form so that we will get back with the answer. Other than, oh, if any other question is there, I'm still not clear on it. Okay. Um, give me just give me a moment. I will get back to you regarding the projects. Okay, so basically there will be projects related to text classification, as I already mentioned, sentiment analysis. So let's say we are giving a a passage. Let's say there are 4 sentences, and when you do sentiment analysis, you can find whether the sentences have a positive meaning or a negative meaning, right? Or a mixed meaning kind of thing. And so this is usually used in a comment section. Like if you go for YouTube comments, and if you, let's say for this particular
Because why
influence,
don't
yeah,
you, yeah, why don't we share a sort of Excel sheet
yes,
or something with
yeah.
this?
So
Over email
if it is
maybe?
included in the so I have shared the feedback form, right? If you guys include the questions there, our team will get back with all the answers that you need. What projects, industry, yeah, industry specific projects is also there. You can mention it in the suggestion which is in the forms. We will get back you with the
As far as
PDF.
I know,
Yeah.
guys, all these projects are will gonna be having stages. So what Vikas is talking about, just the initial stage, and later on, all these projects will be related to not a problem statement, but how you're gonna solve it on a scale. So any problem, how you will gonna be leveraging what services from Azure AI Studio and company data to solve specific problems from their domains, right? Like that. So it would be more so like generic. And then as Vikas mentioned, there would be some which is just to give you a glimpse that, what problem statement it is capable of solving. Cool. I think anyways, because you can share the
Ye-
detailed
ye-
project structure.
Yes, yes, Kalpit, I will share it. So you can just mention it in the forms and we will share you the project details as well. Okay.
There's a question
I
related to
think,
roles. I think all the roles are same. Gen AI role is simple, where you could be. Uh, so in the Gen AI role also we have product developer, product owner, product manager, and if you are not from a technical background, and if you are familiar with technicality like Python coding, then you could be a Gen AI developer who can develop with and without code. There are analyst jobs also currently coming up with AI. So all the jobs roles which were there in the software, now they are similar sort of, we are building teams within AI teams, similar sort of roles. Because all these are now becoming important, that it is not just about AI engineering, it is more about AI management, business analysis, analyst, and all those roles also. Awesome.
yes, Kalpit, I think that is all with the technical question.
For an experienced person like 18 years, who is a non-technical and how this would help? Who is a non-technical? I'm not understanding the question, but what I understand is that you are 18 years experience and a non-technical person. You can definitely gonna be an AI manager or leader. If you understand the basic concepts and these concepts to a thorough thing, you can manage a team of AI people where you will not be developing, but you would be guiding them with some sort of architecture and managing the team people, team management. All right, thank you so much, guys. It was really great having this session here. Nice talking to you.
Thank you, Kalpit. Thank you for joining. I'm sharing the form one more time. So you can fill the forms and get your queries answered. So whatever queries you have related to the program or curriculum, the fee structure, like maybe if this particular program you think if it is not suitable for you, then we also have other programs which will definitely help you to upskill your in your career. Okay. So I think I can take few more questions. We have 1 more minute left, or else. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Panindra. Sure. Thank you, Manasa, for filling the forms. Any other doubts regarding the course or even Gen AI still can answer? We can take 2 more minutes. Uh, okay, okay, great. Then Anand, so course fees again, you can fill the form. So our team will get back with you regarding the fee structures also. Also, do you refer any jobs after the course is done? So uh, we don't exclusively provide you placement like people do in colleges. Okay. So but we do have a placement cell. So what we can do is this certificate, right? This certificate, when you put it in your resume and when you go for interviews, it will definitely move your resume further, right? Because this course is um, a very good course and this certificate is very recognizable certificate. So we don't provide exclusive placements, but this certificate will be helpful when you do a career transition. So we have a lot of people who have transition in their careers. We have uh, even Anikit, who's one of our speaker for webinar. So he actually is an alumni of our data science program. So and then he's right now a director in a company called Moon AI. So as any recording session available, yes, I think you can put the details in the form. I think it's available. I'm not sure, but yes, there is a restreaming for this session, I guess. So you can get answer also. Any testimonials available in yes. So testimonials are available even in our program page. So you can also mention that in the feedback form, and we will be providing you with a list of testimonials. So you can also see it in our website, and it is also available in the program page, right? And the program page link will also be shared if you fill the forms. Yes. Uh, any more questions? Okay, I'll just wait for 2 more minutes and we'll end the webinar by 7:05. Okay. So I have one more thing to say. There is one more program we have, which is an University of Austin, Texas, Gen AI program. So that is a 3-month exclusive program mainly for business leaders. So we cover mostly all the tools in Gen AI and we give them a very good overview of how to apply the Gen AI in their particular business domain. So that is also a course you can go and check it in our website. And there is also webinars for that course, and that will be also available in our website. You can register to that webinar and you can attend and you can get your queries resolved. Okay. Okay, then I think there is no more questions. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for being so interactive. And thank you so much. Bye.